So I asked for a very smart guy to be brought in and tell me how it's going to resolve. And he's Dave Levinthal, coming to us from Washington. He's a senior political reporter for the Center for Public Integrity. All right, first of all, did I make any mistakes in my analysis so far of what's happening, Dave?
You pretty much laid it out, Bill, that we're kind of at the same impasse that we were at a month ago when we were all talking about this and when the shutdown first happened, partial government shutdown. Of course, the whole government is not shut down here in Washington, D.C., but for the 800,000 people who are working in the government, for the various contractors who work for government, the hardship's real. And these are people who are not getting paid, and they might not get a second paycheck coming up this Friday.
So the State of the Union address being impacted by this because the Speaker of the House says, look, as long as the government's shut down, we want to postpone this thing. I see this as a stunt by Nancy Pelosi. Do you agree?
Oh, there's political theatrics all over the place here. And sure, it's a stunt in the sense if you believe what Homeland Security officials and security officials are saying that, hey, if we have it in the House, everyone's going to be protected. There's no security concern here. But by the same virtue, the Constitution only provides that the President of the United States needs to, from time to time, provide an update to Congress about the state of the Union, the state of government affairs, and the state of the nation's affairs. So Donald Trump, if he wanted to do this anywhere across the country, heck, he could do it from a hot air balloon over the peak of Kansas.
That's what I think.
So I think it's really going to be.
Go ahead.
It's really going to be up to Donald Trump ultimately as to whether he just says, all right, well, I don't want to put up with any of this nonsense. I'm just going to go ahead and do the State of the Union address on my own terms. I'll do it at a rally. I'll do it at some other type of speech. I don't have to go up to Capitol Hill. It would obviously be going and cutting against precedent from modern political history, but it was pretty de rigueur for presidents, basically from Jefferson to Woodrow Wilson, to put forth State of the Union addresses on paper. So it is, I guess, when you look at the whole scheme of things,
but it would be seen as a
Congress.
If he doesn't do it verbally, it'd be seen as a retreat. What I would do if I were him would do it outside the Capitol. Many presidents have done that, outside the Capitol. And therefore, you wouldn't have all those seats, because you know the Democrats, I firmly believe this. If he does decide to give the address in the Senate, because I think the House would try to block it, all right? The Democrats won't show up, or they'll sit there and then they'll walk out. What do you want? You don't want that dog and pony show, because then nobody will remember what you're saying. The media will just cover the walkout stunt. Just stand outside in front of the Capitol and just talk to, say, look, I'm going to give the address. You want to hear it? Show up. I'm here, TV cameras, teleprompter. This is the State of the Union. There's the Capitol behind me. Thanks a lot. But we heard today that the Trump administration has now called over to the, and I was just in the Capitol less than a month ago, so I know how this thing works. They've called over to the Sergeant at Arms in the House chamber and said, prepare for us showing up. So I don't know, maybe he wants the confrontation. Do you think President Trump wants the confrontation with Nancy Pelosi?
Oh, he's relished that and has had more than a couple of confrontations with her directly ever since his shutdown was either in the midst of the shutdown or prior to the shutdown happening. But you're right, he could have it anywhere, and he could do it right in front of the Capitol if he wanted to. Bill, I remember plenty of conversations I've had in recent years with people who said the State of the Union, it is so staid, it's so predictable. You pretty much know exactly what you're going to get from the president, Democrat or Republican. We should shake it up anyway. So maybe this is an opportunity for President Trump, if he takes it, to shake it up in a major fashion.
Do you believe, though, that President Trump wants the Democrats to do some kind of protest action actually during his speech? Would he want, for example, say he decides to do it in the Senate, all right? And would he want them to walk out so that the cameras would see all these people walking out on him? Would he want that, do you think?
It's a big if, I think, first as to whether they would in the first place. But let's just say that that was something that ultimately did happen. Could that play into his favor? Sure, it could play into his favor. It would certainly be something that he could hold up and say, well, look, the Democrats won't even sit and hear me. But again, it's unclear whether the Democrats would actually take that step.
But you have to prepare. You have to prepare. You
Sure.
know, the Trump administration right now is trying to figure out what's best for Trump. All right, where they're going to get the most political currency, um, and so they have to prepare for all the scenarios that I laid out, which is why I did. I don't do speculation; I do preparation. Now, on the bills, the McConnell
Mhm.
bill and the Pelosi bill.
Right.
Again, is this just theater, or can something come of this?
Bill, it doesn't appear that either of the two bills or two general bills that are being offered are going to go anywhere here. It's pretty much the Senate bill is going to be dead on arrival in the House, and the House bill is going to be dead on arrival in the Senate. Mitch McConnell's made it very clear that he's not going to forward anything or send anything to President Trump that President Trump isn't going to sign. So you can read that to mean that if it doesn't include $5.7 billion or around there about for border wall funding or border fence funding or whatever anyone wants to call it, it's not going to be a bill that President Trump is going to sign. Therefore, it's not going to be a bill
They won't
that's
even
going to go
vote on
forward
it.
from the Senate. That's
Right.
where we're at.
Okay. All right, Dave, we really appreciate it, and I hope you'll come back, because I think crazy things are going to happen between now and next Tuesday night.
I
Uh,
don't doubt that you're correct.
I really think that insanity is gonna happen. So I hope you'll come back, and we really appreciate your time today.